Church intro video. Church intro video. We are live. We just are. I'm not sure if we are live with Facebook. I see we're live with 2 of them. Not sure if we're live with Facebook. So that is something Bill is now looking into, because my thing says it might not be. But the church intro video has started. Church intro video. And like it tells me we're live, but then it gives me a warning that access will soon expire. So I'm not sure what that means, but I'll let you look at it. Church intro video. Church intro video.
No, it says we're not live on Facebook.
That's weird. It's telling me it's sending to Facebook and we're connected. Nope. Now it's giving me an error. Now it says we're connected.
There we go. Now it's working.
Because it told me the same thing before, but then it let me connect. Because I clicked the little thing and it was like, you're refreshed. And then I noticed I'm getting the same error here. But you saying we are live now? It is showing, correct?
Let me double check. Yep, it says we're streaming to Facebook.
Okay. And you see numbers? Do you see numbers on Facebook is the question. Is it actually Facebook?
I am currently watching the countdown on Facebook Live.
Yay! That means it's working. No, I'm not checking Facebook. I'm not checking Facebook. Get sucked into Facebook. Get sucked into Facebook.
Don't get sucked into Facebook.
Hello, Biggs!
What's up, Biggs?
Oh, see, that's all kind of noises and all kinds of other stuff if I click that button.
Which button?
The join activity of Putt Putt in the channel.
Oh, you can't play putt-putt with me?
No, if I start that, it creates all this extra noise.
Oh, man.
I hope you hear me, Biggs. I mean, that would be the goal of the whole evening, is to be heard. So we can have a conversation, or else we can't have a conversation if you can't hear us. Normal.
I don't know how to stop the activity. Alright, here we go. Leave activity.
1 minute. And Bat Brains is here on Twitch. Welcome.
Yay!
Well, sorry, a Bat Brain. It's different. One place to another place. Hello, Zadie. 45 seconds. I don't know why I keep telling you that. You can see it.
Yes, I can.
Because I'm sharing that.
Uh-huh.
I'm tired. I forgot to build my sneak. Oopsie. I just realized that. That's not good. But maybe Zadie will send one of the girls to do it. Hey, Grayson. 4 seconds. There we live. Faces is live!
Yay!
Except for the fact that you're real close.
Sorry, I was typing on the laptop. I'll back up.
Just real up there.
Hello.
So, oh, you typed the thing.
I did.
Hello and welcome to Season 3, Episode 98 of the Berean Manifesto. Faith, Hope, and Love for the Modern Christian. I'm Pastor... What? We're on 99.
No, it's 98. Week before last was 97, and then we didn't do anything last week.
No. Or else I've titled everything in the entire system wrong.
Oh. Did we not? Nobody typed in the hello and welcome on the 23rd. Did we not? Nobody typed in the 13th. We did episode 97. That's why my number was off. So
Okay.
yeah, it's 99.
Yeah. We didn't type it. Yeah. That would make sense.
I got you.
I was like,
So
wait
next
a second.
week is season 3, episode 100, and then the week after that will be season 4, episode 1.
Which episode 300, unless something is different that I don't know of, is back to you being Big Face.
It is. Next week is back to me being Big Face.
Yeah. Now, are you prepared for being back to Big Face yet?
Am I ever prepared for anything ever?
No. I'm turning you down a bunch tonight, just so you know. You were super loud when we got started.
Well, last week everybody was like, "You're so far away from the mic." So this week I took time to make sure I was like right up in the mic and ready to go.
Yeah, you're redlining a smidge. I've turned you down though, so I hope it is more even now. If you could talk some more.
A smidge of red.
Yes, there we go. Okay, now you're just barely tapping red every now and then.
Okay, good. I don't want to like break speakers and make people go, "This is so loud, I'm not going to listen to what they have to say."
Well, I mean, I'm a pretty loud person naturally, and so a lot of people don't listen to what I have to say because of that. Oh, interesting. So, one of my girls did bring me a sneak, but I'm actually using Zadie's sneak cup, and so she has a bunch of festive stickers that I don't have on my sneak cups. So, just kind of as why are you holding a microphone?
That Berean on Twitch, which is my wife, says his beard hasn't grown back in enough to be Big Face.
Why are you holding a microphone while you're looking at a microphone?
I don't know. It was on my desk. All kinds of things will wind up on my desk. Everything that breaks in the house winds up on my desk to be fixed. This is one of the things I fixed this week. I had to heat up this top shield broke off. I had to heat up the shield with a lighter until it was too hot to touch, and used my shirt to press it down into the plastic lining here to melt it back into place, which upon inspection was how they attached it to begin with in the first place. No glue. They literally just heated up the metal and was like...
Now, to be fair, Batbrain.
To be fair,
in saying his beard hasn't grown, my beard is substantially less than what it was 2 weeks ago, because I got a major trim in order to be where I was last Sunday, which was doing a I hate that conducting facilitating a wedding. So that's how my week was. Like half my week was spent out in Texas, facilitating a wedding and being busy doing that and thoroughly enjoying it. But
hey, look, I've got a halo.
Yeah. So.
What is curse lit? A Batbrain on Twitch just says curse lit.
It's an emoji that is a little fire. It's a little pretty fire.
Oh, okay. It's one of those emoji things.
Yeah, it's a Twitch emoji. Yeah.
Like earlier, Real Dark Grayson said, Pastor 104 hype, Pastor 104 hype.
It's a
But,
little red. It's a little red thing holding a sign that says hype.
okay.
And before that, Zadie's was, I believe those are robot faces. Twitch has a bunch of emojis
A
that
little semicolon, close
it it
parenthesis.
it appears to be a robot face.
Okay.
Yeah.
Once again, Discord does not pick up the emojis from Twitch, and
No.
I'm left just looking at weird text
Yep.
in Discord. So,
Yeah.
it is what it is.
Yeah, I could really I could go all out and do things like this.
What happens when I throw an emoji in Discord chat?
Or like this. And just really just, you know, make it to where you have no idea what is being shown. But yeah.
What does that look like in Twitch?
That appears to be a pen. Yeah.
Oh, so Twitch speaks Discord. It's just that Discord doesn't speak Twitch.
Well, I think it's actually completely different because to be fair, the restream emoji and the Twitch emoji are completely different, but I can tell they're both pens. And just so you know, the thing that Bat Brains did, it's an octopus doing this.
Okay. Squid.
Oh, okay, it's a squid doing this. If
it says squid 1, squid 2, squid 3, squid 4.
Yeah, it's doing this with its tentacles as individual emojis. All right. Which the funny thing, that one did not get picked up. It just says Discord Bill Shea circle. So
it's a yellow smiley face, but it's wearing the Groucho glasses with the thick eyebrows and the nose with the fake mustache.
Got it.
All right.
So that's how my week went. Was lots of driving, lots of being places, and then a bunch of talking.
It's the price you pay when you pick the panorama.
What?
The driving is one of the prices you pay when you pick the panorama. You chose to move to Tennessee, and so now...
But what's panorama have to do with it? That's a type of photo.
Your view. You have a panorama. You chose the... It's a line from a song.
Oh, okay. I don't get it. But that's cool. Like, okay. I get to look at mountains. You don't. I mean, so I guess I get what that means. Like, since my view is different.
I am a mountain. I just gotta look in the mirror and be like, hello, mountain man.
You're a pile of something.
Hey, I didn't say it was a pile.
That's all a mountain is a pile of something.
No, a pile of rocks and a mountain are not the same thing.
One's just older.
So my week was alright, I guess. I've officially decided that those people that I got a second interview with have ghosted.
Mm-hmm.
So that stinks.
Yes.
I got a puppy this week, so that's awesome. A pit lab named Granola, who has taken to housebreaking very well. Surprisingly well. I got to see you this week and hang out with you at a park for about an hour. That was fun.
Yeah, we got a little bit of hanging out time.
Miranda went to her first public school dance on Friday.
Gross.
She had a good time. Hung out with her friends. It was like a rave type theme with black lights and glow sticks, and she came back with a bunch of pictures and videos and stuff. So
yeah, see, Grayson agrees with me.
And
I don't say that, let's be clear. It's not the public school dance. and it's not the Miranda dancing. Neither of those two things are gross. It's the
Not the Miranda dancing.
going to a dance that is gross, just overall. So, let's be clear on what I mean. I am not hating on public school, and I am not hating on a child. I am hating on the high school dance aspect of high school dance.
I see.
Coming from someone who never had to go to a high school dance because I went to a school that thought that if you danced, you would probably end up burning in hell quite quickly afterwards. And so, our homecoming, it was literally in the middle of a basketball game, and you had the court, and then the court walked away. Um, that was homecoming. Yay! So another thing, because I just saw it on camera, one of the things that did happen at the wedding is I shattered a tooth. That was fun.
You saw your tooth on camera? Is that what you're saying?
Yeah, I saw the hole on the new hole in my face. And it made me go, oh yeah, I broke a tooth. Which seems to happen now every time I go somewhere. Like the last time I was in Texas, I broke a tooth. And so I'm like, well, that's a thing.
I guess I should just stop going places.
Yeah, I don't think that's the actual answer. I think it's more I should probably get my teeth fixed, but that is expensive.
Cum si cum sa.
So says the guy who got all his teeth pulled out. Which is a form of fixing.
That's a I guess if.
So that's how the weeks went.
Cool. It's time for getting to know the pastors, and it's your week to pull a card.
Do you have any other thing you want to talk about before I read said card? Anything?
I don't think so.
I really am super tired for no good reason. I had plenty of sleep last night because time changed, so we got a full extra hour. If you won a contest in which your prize was to select any 3 guests to appear on a popular late-night talk show, which 3 people would you choose? That's a weird contest.
I won a contest.
Yeah.
To choose 3 other people to go onto a talk show.
Well,
just for the satisfaction of seeing those 3 people go on the talk show?
It just says 3 people. It doesn't say you can't be one of them.
Yeah.
But yes.
Oh, okay.
But
to what end? I'm confused. I don't understand that card at all.
If you were on an African safari,
thank you.
What would you absolutely have to see for your trip to be complete? So if you were on an African safari, what do you want to see on said African safari? For me, so I've kind of been on an African safari, but not really on an African safari.
You've been to Botswana.
No, I did. Nope, I did not go to Botswana. You were wrong.
Where did you?
I went to South Africa.
Botswana?
Nope, I went to South Africa.
South Africa.
Right. Oh. Did not go on the Botswana trip, but the South Africa trip, we stayed on a safari. It's a wildlife preserve that is now owned by the Franzens, I believe. Okay. And they've made it into a school.
The Franzens have a school in Africa.
Yeah. And Zadie will correct me if I'm wrong if that's a different place, but I'm 99% sure that if you're saying Franzen, then I probably have the right people. But I was actually looking at pictures of it earlier, pictures from their school. And they have a baby rescue center, which would be the only thing Zadie would focus on. That's that's a joke for all of you who don't know out there. Zadie actually works with babies and loves babies more than any other form of human. Um, but so they had a bunch of animals and things on the wildlife preserve, um, and I don't like ostriches and I don't like emus. Um, rhinos are cool, lions are cool, but I've seen them. I've eaten zebra, I've eaten giraffe, so I don't really care to see those. Um, Zadie says I am an emu, and they have much more hair than me, so no, I'm not.
How are you an emu?
I don't
I
know.
don't.
I must aggressively peck while I flap my wings and run at people, maybe, which does seem like
Sure.
something I could possibly do. Let's be honest.
Why not?
um, so I don't really have anything I would like to see on an African safari because there's not anything that's really, you know, um, I've been to some cool safari zoos. I've been to some cool, there's some good zoos that I've been to that I've been able to see. Um, we're not going to talk about that. Um, we're not even going to read that comment. We're going to giggle and no one will know why. Um, so
Unless you go read the
yeah, unless you're in Twitch
comment.
currently live. The but um, yeah. So I don't have anything.
Yeah, I got nothing.
You don't have anything? Okay. Well, we have to
No,
have
I've
another
seen
card if
pictures
you
of
can't
National
answer.
Geographic, and I've seen those Earth shows on TV. I've seen enough of Africa as
Okay.
far as safari wise goes.
Here's a good one. If everyone were required to wear a hat at all times, what sort of hat would you wear? Now, so I'm going to argue that this question is semi-invalid because if I'm required to wear a hat at all times, I'm going to constantly be changing my hat. I currently own like 4 different styles of like 12 hats. Zadie says she would always wear a beanie, which is not surprising. I love
Mhm.
beanies. I love fedoras. I own a cowboy hat. I don't wear it very often. I love fitted ball caps. I hate trucker hats. Um, um, Big said it should be your top hat with the goggles, Pastor Bill. That would be what you would have to wear at all
That's
times.
that's only wearable when it's like cold outside because it holds in so much heat, you know. Um, but I mean, I've also got a trucker hat. I've got a fitted hat. I've got one of those um, taxi cab driver hats. I've got a bowler hat. I've got a fedora. Yeah, I
But what
mean,
is your favorite hat?
my favorite is definitely the top hat, but
Mm-hmm.
it's too hot.
Right. But that's your
Um,
favorite
and
overall. Which
overall,
it's
yeah,
a
that's my
steampunk
favorite.
hat, so technically it could have a small air conditioner built into it. If it was a required thing that all people had to wear hats, hats would have air conditioners, I think.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. Uh-oh, here we go. Dum dum dum. Yes. When did you add the webbing?
For Halloween this year.
I like it. I
Yeah.
like the webbing. I thought your
I have some
goggles were
fire
more
webbing to it.
steampunk than they look there. I thought they were steampunk, not black. Am I?
No, they're not bronze color. They're just
Oh,
black.
I thought they were bronze to match the little on the side of it.
No, even the is new,
Oh,
newish. I mean, that came with the feather pin set over here.
hmm. Okay. Well, it shows how much I know, which is none.
Well, you've been living in Tennessee for ever at this point. It feels like.
It's been just like 2 years. 3 years almost.
Yeah, forever. That's what I said. Forever.
It's not forever. You are exaggerating.
I said feel.
Oh, okay.
There's no exaggeration when you say feel. It's just you're expressing how you feel.
That's valid. Um. All right. So I think we're warmed up. Yes, Biggs. My favorite hat is my fedora. I need a new one. That fedora is actually, um, it is at its end. It actually irritated me, during the wedding, and Serafina ended up wearing it for a large part of the day, um, because it has gotten smushied a couple times, and the fabric is not taut anymore, and it feels wrong, on my head, um, because of age. But yes, I love fedoras.
The age of the hat or the age of the wearer?
30-second buffer, 30-second buffer, 30-second buffer. And for those of you who don't get that joke, we actually do that after we cut off the podcast. We do a 30-second buffer for our live people. For those of you
Every
who are...
week.
I haven't made that joke in a while, so in case you're a new listener, that's how we sign off for this thing. And so that's my cue that I don't like what Pastor Bill's saying and I'm leaving.
Yep, that's what he does when he doesn't like what I say. He's like, I'm out.
I'm out. Ah. Um.
Bye.
So tonight, we are talking.
Tonight.
I titled tonight, "The church is supposed to do what?" And for some reason on Twitch, I put 2 question marks. I don't think I did that everywhere, but on Twitch, I put 2 question marks. So obviously, I was
Twitch
very.
got a little something extra special.
I think when I deleted the one row to put in the new row that I copied from, I didn't delete the question mark, so it got 2, or everyone got 2, and I don't know it yet. One or the other. So we've been on this 6-week journey, quote unquote.
This 6-week journey that we took a 3-week hiatus from to do a...
Yeah, that we've taken other breaks from, so it's really been, which is really funny, because, so here's the thing, like, I decided to do this 6-week study on discipleship because we were doing the Kingdom Disciples study book for my family Bible study that we do with my extended family every Saturday. And so I was like, oh, since I'm being the big face, we'll do this at the same time. And then like a week got missed, and another week got missed, and then a week got missed here that didn't get missed there, and then a week got missed here, and then we took a 3-week break, but then because of that at the same time. So actually Saturday this past week was actually our last session here too. So for both, the 6-week Bible study was really like 12.
In both places
In
for different
both
reasons.
places for completely different reasons, but started and ended at the same time, which is really, really weird. And just so everyone knows, our
Weird.
next...
Or is it Providence?
Well, what show was I watching? What was I watching or reading where they were talking about the fact that I don't believe in coincidences? I don't remember. I was watching something and they were like, there is no such thing as coincidence. Blah, blah, blah. But I don't remember what I was watching. So I was trying to quote something and now I don't remember what it was. And I don't think it was the show Lucifer from DC Vertigo. But it might have been the Netflix show. I was watching that with our friend Says this last week. Anyway, so the last part of our discipleship talk is the church's role in discipleship. Last week, well, 2 weeks ago now, we talked about the family's role in discipleship and how as a family, we should be discipling. And this one is on the church's role. And so, there are so many things you can look at when you're looking at the church. Um, or when you say things like the church's role, what we should do with the church. And we discussed this a lot several weeks ago on our state of theology of where the church is and where the church should be in certain facets. And this is something we talk about a lot. And in our current climate of the world we live in, it is something being talked about a lot as well, is the perception of the church and the way church is done, and lots of things like that. And so we're going to kind of tonight looking at, as far as from a discipleship standpoint, what should the church be doing? Which, the funny thing is the church should be creating disciples. It's the thing, as a capital C church, as followers of Christ, it's one of the things that we are commanded to do. One of the only things that Jesus actually states, go do this, no qualifiers, no, go make disciples. It's one of the things, the direct, you know, action that he told us to go do. Go make disciples. And so,
and when we say the church, we don't mean the organizations and
right.
institutions that call themselves churches.
Right.
We mean the people that literally make up
the church.
Yeah,
exactly. Yeah, and there is a distinction in that.
Not the Ecclesian House's job to make disciples as an organization. It's my job and Noom's job and everybody that's watching this or listening to this as, participants in what the Ecclesian House is doing. It's all our jobs to be making disciples because we are
the church. And one of the big things, and it was interesting. One of the things that Dr. Evans said in this study is, if you're not making disciples, if you're not working towards that as a person, you're not in church. You're just I'm gonna mess the quote up. You're just gathering. You're not there for the right reasons, which is to be discipled, to then disciple. The whole thing about the lecture style that most modern churches have gone to does not lend itself to making disciples in a certain way. Some people, that is how they learn, it is how they grow, it is how they can be discipled in that way. For the majority of humans, a lecture series is not how they're really going to click on it. And the bigger issue in that is, to become a disciple is not to listen and understand, it's to then act on it.
This is why we have so many people out in the world who have college degrees and can't figure out the simplest instructions. It's because college is all lecture style.
Mm-hmm.
And they just bought a piece of paper. They didn't actually learn anything. Because that's not how everybody learns. Only a small percentage of people learn in that environment.
Yeah, most people are hands-on. And so when we, that's where for me actually the lectures work to a certain degree. But the reason they work is I don't trust anyone. I don't trust myself. I don't trust what I think. I don't trust what other people think. I trust no one. So when I'm listening to a lecture, I'm constantly going, and thinking on it, and thinking of the things I've learned in the past, and thinking of the things and that is the ADHD superpowers, where I can still pay attention to what's being said and do that, whereas a lot of people can't.
My big issue with lectures is, and I mentioned this earlier with you, is my big issue with lectures is they'll go into an analogy about football, and I'll go, oh, they started a football analogy. I'm going to tune them out until they're done with that analogy because I don't know anything about football. So I'm not getting anything out of this anyway. So I just go off into my own little world until my brain picks up that they've stopped talking about football, and then I start listening. Or they start talking about troubles they have at a hotel because they were at a different hotel before, and my brain goes, that's not applicable to me. And I just don't hear what they said.
Which is something that does happen. And you do that also with just normal conversation.
True.
Me and Sez got into a slightly heated conversation earlier this week because something was said that flips me the wrong way because of the connotation of a word when he was using the diction of the word. He was correct in his diction, but to me, he was completely wrong in his connotation, not because of his connotation, but because of the connotation of how the word actually exists today. And so, and in his worldview and his circles that he runs in, he doesn't experience that. Whereas in where I run, it's a completely different grouping of circles and people, and so it's interesting to see even those types of division in conversations, which is why so much of the New Testament church and so much of what we've tried to do with the Ecclesian House and what is needed overall is that small group format of coming together, studying together, learning together, talking it through to make sure we all not agree, but are on the same page of understanding of, okay, that's what it could mean, or that's what it might mean, or that's what it means to me, and that's what it means to you, and cool. When it's not a, um, one of the big ones. The little things that we sometimes split whole churches about, um, and refuse to work together. Um, but it's that aspect of, as a church, we should be, you know, those small groups are what's important. The people, the relationships that you can build is what churches, when I say churches this time, I mean, individual gathering of people should
The
be
institution.
working towards, is because the small group is what the only way to truly disciple. You can't disciple on a large scale. The large scale is to start the conversation. The small scale is where you actually grow. And I
Right.
think
You
that's
have
something that
the
is,
institution is supposed to facilitate
yeah,
the ability for the individual to be discipled and then to
hmm,
disciple others.
yeah,
It's not the institution's job to disciple in that big,
yeah,
top down bureaucratic way. That just doesn't work. The church is supposed to facilitate believers doing what believers are supposed to do.
yeah. And so a couple of the other things that, Dr. Evans kind of talks about is the church, the capital C church being unified. Um, and then, so like one of the verses that he used, which I actually um, was at a church today, and this was what they were talking about too. For some reason, that didn't go to Twitch. I don't know why. Okay. Um, so the um, the Restream client has decided not to pick up Twitch at the moment for some reason. Okay. Um, From him, the whole body, fitted and knit together by every supporting ligament, promotes the growth of the body for building up itself in love by the proper working of each individual part. And that is what the capital C church is missing so often. We've divided ourselves into little groups that only, you know, uh, I only like this kind of music. So I go to a church that only plays this music. I only like my coffee to be served in a glass that is biodegradable, or I only like my coffee to be served in a cup that's hand washed after someone else has just drank out of it. And anyway, I don't understand that one personally, but other people do. And not my place to judge them. I can disagree with them nicely and not actually make disgusted faces at them. But we
I
have to be
disagree with your coffee cup
I
policy.
I
I'm never coming back here.
I that, those are individual aspects in this scenario. Um, but we have to be united. One of the things that I found interesting was, there are times, and it's happening more and more, where churches are coming together, even from other denominations, and working together because they understand, you know, these are the things we agree with. Just because I think your skirt needs to be 7 millimeters past your ankle and you think it can be 7 inches above your knee, that doesn't necessarily mean that
7 inches.
they're tall people. They're giants. It happens.
They better be tall people. You sit down with a skirt that's 7 inches above your knee. There's no skirt anymore.
They're very tall people. Some of those mountain people, man, they big people. But they you
I want you to be comfortable, but
so there's those aspects
there's
where
be some fluff between your legs and that chair.
we go back to the hygiene issues. When we come together, we have to come together to move the kingdom forward. Discipling and growing, even when we don't agree with each other. There's a lot that, there's someone said something to me recently, and they were like, well, you can't just not go somewhere because you don't agree with them. And that's 100% accurate to a degree, because it's 100% accurate that we have to come together even when we disagree on small things. If we're disagreeing on large things, that can be a different conversation, because you do have to be comfortable where you worship and where you're being fed into. But
what are those large things, Pastor Newt?
I don't have them all written down at the moment, but the big ones for me are, Jesus being the only way to the Father.
Because that's the definition of Christianity.
Right. The aspect of so Jesus, death, resurrection, the fact that salvation is
that's
by
definitely number one.
Yeah, salvation is by faith, not works, not just a prayer. There is actually that. And then, to me, those three, or two, or one, or however you want to look at it, are really the big ones.
I'd say number three would be, it's an issue if you say we need to radically love, and then you follow that up with but.
I agree, but that's I agree. For me, I can't be there's a difference between fellowshipping with and being a member of a congregation with as well. There's a lot of people I will fellowship with that I don't agree with at all. But I know they've got the two that I actually like, the 2 to 3 that are, yes Jesus, yes faith, yes heaven. Cool. We've got the same generic, but there are some things that just woo. But we still have to be able to come together for those things. There are still times that I've completely disagreed with something, gotten into the Word, studied it, realized I'm wrong, and changed my worldview. And that's okay. And if we didn't ever interact with anyone outside of our own worldview, we wouldn't do that. If we all lived in our individual bubbles,
Well, I've had that happen more than once just getting ready for this podcast. I've
well,
gone into studying with one worldview and gone, oh, wait, a whole worldview on this issue has been unbiblically correct. Like, from front to start, I have to change what I believe now.
and I agree on that if you
Oh,
are
it can
doing that
happen.
individual study. But usually it's through
Yeah,
discourse
usually.
and, studying together. Um, so, we are, there's a common phrase, sometimes you'll be the only Jesus anyone sees. Um, and that is a true statement. There are times where we as Christians, we as followers of Christ, we are the only Christian as someone might see. Now, the radical difference to that I see often is oftentimes we're the only accurate representation of Christian, or we are the only opposing view from the vocal, I will say, minority, um, that ends up getting all the airtime. um, on both sides of all issues, typically it's the vocal minority that end up causing more issues and more divisiveness. But in churches, it happens so often where, like, for example, what we talked about for 3 weeks straight of, the state of theology, so many people have tainted even what certain words mean in Christianity, and that doesn't mean the whole of Christianity feels that way, but because some people are teaching it quite loudly, that's what people see. People see
Right.
televangelists. People see people who are on, the radio. People see these certain individuals, not the church as a whole that is trying to do the right thing in the right way. Um, we sadly have a lot of us not. And so in that, as we round the corner of 720, um, some of the stuff the church isn't. Um, if a church is growing, meaning the building is growing, or the number of people in said building is growing, but the people aren't growing in their faith and growing in their knowledge and growing in being discipled, the that that physical iteration of the church is missing it. um, if the numbers are going up, but the people are staying the same, we've missed something. If the building of the church is really pretty, but the people spirits aren't really pretty, we're probably missing something. If the people are rotten and just crotchety, angry, you know, whatever people, we're probably missing something. Something you mentioned earlier. If the church isn't loving others, the church is missing it. You know, the it's interesting to see as I've been visiting churches and listening to things and reading on things, trying to find a church to attend, to you know assist in being discipled, so that I can continue to help disciple. The It's hard to find an organization that um, is not missing it or is not doing something. If you have a building fund because you just want a new building, or the carpets are raggedy, but you haven't reached out to the hungry or the poor or the lost or the widowed or the, all the things that Jesus, blatantly tells us to do, and what the New Testament church did, taking care of people who are in need. That's a problem. If you're spending more money on this than that, or if you're not even trying, I have, we've all seen it. We all know it happens, sadly. And then there are some individual parts of the church that are doing a really good job of certain of these aspects. And that's good. And that's how it should be. But we as a whole church have to continue to get there together. And that's all I have to say. But I know you probably have more. You can't not have anything.
Why?
'Cause we got 9 more minutes to fill. Like that's ever stopped me when I'm the big head that we're short. But do you have anything to add to any of that?
Not really.
Okay. Other than what you've already stated.
I guess. I'm just sick and tired of all of that.
Yeah. Yep.
And screaming into the darkness for no one but God to hear.
Yes. Okay.
There's no money and there's no popularity in loving people and speaking the truth. And so we just end up in our own little echo chamber, going in circles about things that need to be done, and we have no voice of influence anywhere. I don't know.
It definitely is frustrating. Yes, I agree.
So yeah.
Well, if you would like to join us, if you're listening to this podcast, we record this live every Sunday, or most Sundays, at 6:30 Central Time. And it sadly looks like it will not be, you know, Central Time will not be the set Central Time unless something radically changes quite quickly in one of the houses. Time change will happen again in the spring, it looks like, but that's beside the point. Um, the
Wasn't that the time they chose? Was the daylight savings time they chose?
Yes, but it's the so
Which was the stupid one to choose to begin with, but they
well,
chose one they chose.
so they did choose one, and it passed unanimously in whichever of the chambers it was in. I cannot remember. I want to say it passed the Senate correctly, and it has now just been sitting in the House and has not been discussed, talked about, or anything, which it has to go through both chambers before it can then be sent to the president to become law. And so at the moment, no one knows. Everyone anticipated before this last switch that the law would be passed, so that way going into the next year it would be law. Um, but it has been just sitting on someone's, in the chamber, whichever side. I can't remember whether it was the House passed it and the Senate's holding it, or the Senate passed it and the House is holding it. I can't remember. I just actually read an article about it yesterday, but I don't remember. But we're going to be here 6:30, whatever time Central is currently. Um, um, Recording this, and we would love for you to join us. You can look us up on ekk.house to see where you can join us live. And with that, to be part of the discussion as we're talking about, to try to work through these things together, as opposed to just having the talking head, actually being able to interact with everyone through it. Um, and we will talk with you guys next week. And we love you.
Stay safe out there.
See, you said it. Good. All right. And now, for all of you who are still here, we have to do a 30-second buffer because of Restream. And so we sing a little song to do a 30-second buffer as opposed to just watching 30 seconds go by, which would be just as easy. But at this point, if we don't do it, I get super irritated and can't think straight for the rest of the time until it's done. So, you're not going to start it?
30-second
Okay,
buffer.
30-second buffer. 30-second buffer.
Has it been 30 seconds yet?
No,
No,
that's
that's not how time works.
Time works. Nope.
30-second
buffer. 30-second buffer. 30-second buffer.
That's definitely been enough time.
That has been. Goodbye.
Bye-bye.